Who here hasn't been to space?
Why?
You better not throw up on my ship.
Approaching jump in 3, 2, 1.
About 2 weeks ago, we talked about the biopic coming out that is going to be centered around the King of Pop, Michael Jackson, titled Michael, coming from Lionsgate. One of the things that I talked about when we discussed that a couple weeks ago was my trepidation for it, because I wanted it to be done correctly. I wanted it to be done truthfully, and I wanted it to be something that highlighted Michael, not something that painted him as a villain. Tell the truth of what happened, but don't paint Mike as some type of villain or the wacko jacko that he was painted out to be. So my trepidation was definitely there. With that, my trepidation was also there with who could you possibly get to portray such an iconic individual from our times? Who could you get to be Michael Jackson? And I didn't have an answer then. However, news has come out stating that Jaffar Jackson, the nephew of Michael Jackson, will be portraying Mike in the biopic. And before we get into everything, I've said this before and I will continue to say it, Michael Jackson is and will always be innocent. I know there are people out there, individuals, that believe truly in their heart of hearts that Michael is guilty of the allegations pinned against him. And even more so after the disgustingly disrespectful HBO Max documentary Leaving Neverland, or Never Leaving Neverland, or whatever the fuck it's called. I don't care what HBO Max and money hungry Wade have brainwashed you into believing, but the fact of the matter is Michael is innocent, and I wanted to state that up front. There are plenty of other documentaries that you can look up, like Square One or Lies of Leaving Neverland, or as we've discussed before when we discussed the biopic before about 2 weeks ago, you can watch the OG biopic, Jackson's The American Dream, which I truly believe depicts perfectly the boys' life, Michael's life, the Jacksons' life up until the time, I think it was of the when he did Billie Jean, is when they stopped the documentary. But you can definitely go watch, or documentary, sorry, the biopic. You can definitely go watch that biopic as well. Now, when we last spoke about the biopic, I kept wondering about who, like I said before, who could possibly be playing him. And now Deadline has come out and collaborated with many others that have said that Jaffar Jackson is going to be playing his uncle, Michael. But not just that, Jaffar also tweeted out or Instagram and tweeted out a picture of himself dressed as Mike. And I'll show that picture here in a second, dressed as Mike and things like that. And so that he will be portraying Michael. But this is what Deadline has had to say about Jaffar Jackson portraying his uncle in the biopic titled Michael. Michael Jackson will be played by the late icon's 26-year-old nephew Jaffar Jackson in the Antoine Fuqua directed film biopic for Lionsgate. Fuqua just posted a confirmation on Instagram. The singer and songwriter is the son of Jermaine Jackson, who is the brother of Michael and a member of the Jackson 5. Jaffar has been singing and dancing since age 12 and has showcased himself singing tunes from Sam Cooke to Marvin Gaye alongside with originals. Goes on to say, as Deadline revealed last week, the Emancipation Helmer signed on to direct next, the Michael biopic, which has a script by John Logan, the film being produced by Graham King, who turned the Freddie Mercury Queen story into the blockbuster Bohemian Rhapsody. GK Films will produce alongside the co-executives of Jackson's estate, John Branca and John McClane. They go on to say, as an actor, he might well learn more than he wanted to about his world-famous uncle. And we've heard the film will not shy away from any controversies of Jackson's life. The pedophile accusations that haunted his latest years up to his death in 2009 at the age of 50, from cardiac arrest caused by a cocktail of sedatives. So we do know that they are going to be diving into the allegations throughout Michael's life and things like that. Like I said, the estate is going to be involved, and Graham King being involved, the producer Graham King being involved, wanting to ensure that the family has their say, that the family is there every step of the way to make sure that the story being told, again, is truthful to who and what Michael truly were, not some Hollywood facade calling him wacko jacko. Like I said, for those who are unaware, the Jackson estate owns the rights to Michael's music, not his family, but we've also heard that producer Graham King wants to incorporate the family and to ensure that whatever's being told throughout this biopic, it stays truthful to who Michael truly was, to what Michael really was. The Deadline article also stated that they will not shy away from some of the complicated situations during Michael's life, and I will actually this part here, I'll go ahead and read that there. This is coming from Deadline as well. Because the estate, producers, and everyone involved understand and realize that they have to tell the most truthful story that they possibly can. Obviously, the truth is that Michael Jackson is innocent. However, I'm still interested on how they're going to convey the entirety of his career and life in a way that pleases the fans, but also combats the negative individuals that are brainwashed in believing that Michael is truly guilty. However, the most comforting news about all of this is that the role of Michael is being kept in the family, and that seems to be something that the family themselves also agrees with. This is what Taj Jackson, also nephew to Michael, had to say. He said, "They found the perfect and only person who could play my uncle in this biopic. I cried with pride after seeing Jaffar's makeup/hair screen test yesterday. Not only did he embody Michael Jackson, he had the tone, voice, cadence, and mannerisms, everything." And that he showed there the picture that Jaffar posted, and I will go ahead and show that picture for you guys. You can see that there. And this is the picture here of Jaffar that he posted on his Instagram during the test screening of him being dressed with the makeup and the outfit and the hair and everything to be ready to portray Mike. But Catherine Jackson, Michael's mother, also had this to say. She said, "Jaffar embodies my son. It's so wonderful to see him carry on the Jackson legacy of entertainment and performance." And I've already seen naysayers saying, of course, the estate's involving the family and etc., etc. Well, no shit, they're going to involve the family. Why? Because they want to make sure that the stories being told about Michael are truthful to who Mike was and not, again, some Hollywood facade. And who better to tell his truth than blood? And after listening to interviews of Jaffar and listening to him sing, they absolutely made the right choice. Why? Because we don't want another Flex Washington situation. What was that, a Lifetime movie that he did, I believe? That the caricature performance that Flex Washington put on. We don't want something like that to be another biopic or another Mike, someone like that portraying Mike again. We don't want that to be... We don't want this biopic to be a repeat of something like that. However, I will say that this has boosted my excitement for the biopic, knowing that Jaffar Jackson is going to be coming on portraying his uncle, knowing that the family is going to be involved, knowing that producer Graham King is involved, and he's wanting to make sure that the family is involved every step of the way. These were worries that I had when we first talked about this 2 weeks ago that have now since, I feel, been eased a little bit. And I'm excited for this because I adore Michael Jackson. And I would love to see an accurate biopic told for him that's not muddied with all of the allegations, that's not muddied with someone's perpetuated lies and things like that. It needs to be accurate to who and what Mike truly was. I also encourage you guys to do your own research instead of believing everything that comes out of Hollywood. Because something like this, the allegations toward Mike, it was always about money and never truth. Wade, one of the accusers, loved Michael Jackson. He loved Michael Jackson until he was denied to being the choreographer for the Circus Soleil shit. And of course, more and more lies came with that story. So yes, I encourage everyone to do their own type of research, not just with this story, but with any story. I do want to show some video of Jaffar Jackson singing in the studio and show some interviews of him so you can hear his speaking voice, just in case there are some that maybe have not. But before we get into that, I want to talk about something that YouTuber Andy Signor had to say. He has an insider that tells him that Miss I've been playing blackface my entire life, Oprah Winfrey, is trying to sabotage this film. And I'm not surprised by that at all, because if you know, Oprah Winfrey was involved with the Leaving Neverland documentary that was put on by HBO Max. She had quite a few things to say, and this is coming from People Magazine. I'll read this here quickly. This says, if you don't know, again, she did a After Neverland or whatever the fuck it was called. She did some type of interview documentary style deal where she interviewed Wade and the other victim. I forget his name. The other victim. She interviewed both of them, but she also had members in the audience that were also sexually abused victims in the audience, where she addressed them and said this: before launching into her interview, Winfrey first addressed her audience, which included survivors of sexual abuse who had just screened the film. She said, as you just saw in Leaving Neverland, that as young boys, these two men did not feel abuse until much later on in life. And when you are a child, this is the message I want every parent to hear. You don't have the language to explain what is happening to you because you've been seduced and entrapped. Still, Winfrey said she was aware that her support of the documentary might be polarized, possibly inciting anger from Jackson's fans and estate. We're all going to get it, she said. I'm going to get it. We're all going to get it. Before adding that people are going to say to her, you're letting the black man down. Now, I want to address that first part here where she was talking about talking to the parents and saying that, as a child, you don't think, you don't recognize that it's abuse until later on in life and things like that. What I'm going to say to this about that is I'm not dismissing sexual abuse in any way whatsoever, because obviously we all know that sexual abuse is very, very real. But in this situation, it is very, very fake. This is not these two boys, these now two men, were not sexually abused as boys by Michael Jackson. As I've mentioned plenty times before, Aaron Carter, the late Aaron Carter, rest his soul, did an interview where he was asked about Michael, and he said, man, nothing like that ever happened. And I spent a mass amount of time with Mike where nothing sexual was ever hinted at. I never felt any type of way or anything like that.
So nothing improper between you and Michael Jackson ever?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's full. I mean, I'm writing a book, and I'll talk about it a little bit more in depth when the book is finished. Mm-hmm. But absolutely not. And that's why I'm so appalled by it. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense about Lou Pearlman because he never did anything like that to me. Mm-hmm. It never made sense with Michael Jackson because he was nothing but nice and kind and loving to me.
Not to mention that Macaulay Culkin has also come out saying similar things that with we all know the time that he spent with Mike.
It's almost easy to try to say, oh, it was like weird or whatever, but it wasn't. It's like one of my friendships that people question only because of the fact that he was the most famous person in the world. He was the kind of person who'd been through the exact same freaking thing and wanted to make sure that I wasn't alone in that kind of.
Was he fun?
He was awesome. He was hilarious. He was sweet, and people know how funny he was. For me, it's so normal and mundane. I know it's a big deal to everyone else, but for me, it's it was a normal, it was a normal friendship.
All I do know is what I know, and what I know is Michael was a gentleman, and he was respectful to every child that I saw him with, and to me myself. So there was a group of kids, and we all formed a bond. We were all friends with Michael, and I asked each one of those kids about their experiences, and every one of them told me the same thing that I experienced. All we know for a fact is that Jordan Chandler, who was the first kid that accused him, came out after his dad died and wrote an open letter and said that those stories were fake. He said it himself in his own words in an open letter. So we know that. We know that the second trial was negated and was proven to be false. He had 10 counts against him, and he was proven innocent on all 10 counts. So why are we even still talking about this? The man's dead. Every time it came up, it was resolved. It should be a dead issue.
All it comes down to with Wade and what's the other dude's name, Shuckmaker or whatever the fuck, only thing that comes down to with them is simply money. And only thing it comes down to with Oprah, she only involves Mike when it's beneficial to her. Oprah seems pretty dedicated to proving that Michael Jackson is guilty. However, Mike made Oprah's career with the historical interview that they did, what was that, back in the early 90s, I believe. Not to mention, she was one of the first. She was the first to interview the family after Mike's passing. So she only involves herself with Mike when it's beneficial to helping Oprah. So it's the same thing like when she interviewed Wade. This was beneficial to helping Oprah. But to hear she's trying to sabotage this film does not surprise me at all. This is the same Oprah that after Kobe Bryant died wanted to talk about nothing but the rape allegations that he was also proven innocent of. It seems like Oprah, so at the end there when she said in her quote, people are going to tell her you're letting the black man down. Well, yes, Oprah, people are going to say that because it's not the first time that you've let the black man down. This is not the first time you've turned against your own community. So seeing that Oprah's against this, I'm not surprised by that. This is typical Oprah. Like I said at the beginning, Oprah's been playing blackface her entire life. Oprah doesn't give a damn about this community, nor does she give a damn about letting the black man down. She's going to do whatever's beneficial for Oprah. So if this is true, and I truly do believe that it is true, like I said, Andy Signore does have great inside information. I truly believe that this is true, and this is not the first time he's talked about some of the things going on with Oprah. I implore you to head over to his channel. You can check out some of the things that he's talked about involving Oprah and Michael Jackson. Oprah has it out for Mike. So if this is true and she's trying to sabotage this biopic, again, I'm not surprised by it. But I feel like for someone whose house is also made of glass, she shouldn't go throwing stones. And the reason she shouldn't go throwing stones because I don't know if any of this shit is actually true, and I really don't, you know, I don't have the validity to it or anything like that. But there was the rumored allegation, since we're talking allegations, because even the stuff with Michael Jackson, those are still rumored allegations. He was proven innocent. But since we want to talk about allegations, Oprah, I believe, wasn't it said in 2019, 2020 that her and a list of other celebrities were on house arrest due to sex trafficking children? And again, those are rumored allegations. The same allegations that the same type of rumored allegations that she's trying to pin on Mike, those are rumors. So instead of trying to throw rocks at somebody, try to make sure that your own house is clean. Try to make sure that your own house is not made of glass. I would say stick to what you know and focus on what you've got going on within your own personal life right now. Stop worrying about Mike. Get off Mike. If this is what's really going on, I've been saying this forever, Oprah has and will forever be a snake. But we will move on to the last thing I wanted to say here, and that was just showing some of the things that Jaffar has done. Again, I don't know if anybody has seen that he can actually sing. He sounds great, so I'll let you guys hear him in the studio first.
For me to explore them. Open your arms, don't be alone. Stroking the rose, grace thorn. Cause you're wanting to, might do something new to me.
He sounds great. He sounds really good. He sounds really good here. He sounds a lot more like Mike. It really sounds like his uncle. So I'm excited.
No judging if you misbehaving. We'll find a way if we try. Don't give up on me. I know you dream about it. It's okay to want me. It's okay to want me. It's the perfect moment. And you're worth it to me. You're so safe around me. Just promise me you won't let go. If I take control, can you go there with me? I need you to go that way. I wonder.
Yeah, no, he sounds really, really good. And then the last thing I'll show here is just when he did the interview. I think it was with Genius, just so you can hear him speak. Again, all the Jacksons have that soft voice tone. And he talks about that.
When I first saw my father and uncles perform, it was the 30th anniversary of the Jacksons. They performed in New York, and that was the only time I got to see my Uncle Michael perform. Just seeing the fans' reactions and the energy, that really inspired me to want to be in the music, even though I was in golf at that time, but I knew it would lead to that eventually. The day when I was working on Got Me Singing, we were in the studio in Van Nuys, and Hardy, the producer, played these drums for me. I really loved the rhythm and the feel it gave me. So then I went to the keyboard and started messing with different chords and different ideas. It felt right, and then Hardy was like, oh, that sounds good. It was up-tempo, made me want to dance. It was just a feel-good record. Sharing my music with my father was a special moment for me. I wouldn't be in music or singing if it wasn't for my father.
So yeah, I just wanted to show that there. I just wanted to kind of show you guys listening to him sing, and then you can listen to his voice too. Again, all the Jacksons have that soft tone voice, and he talks about that in a separate interview where he talks about, you know, the genetics of their family and things like that. And again, I'm excited for this, knowing that Jaffar is attached to it, hearing him sing, listening to the rest of the family, like Catherine, his mother, saying that they picked the right person. His other nephew, Taj, saying the same, that they picked the right person. Jermaine coming out and saying some things. Again, I'm excited for it, but as always, questions for you guys. Let me know down below in the comments what you guys are thinking about the news that has come out that Jaffar Jackson will be portraying his uncle in the biopic titled Michael, that will be directed by director Michael Fakwa, who also did the Bohemian Rhapsody biopic starring Freddie Mercury and Queen. And what are you thinking about Andy Signor's insight, or saying that Oprah Winfrey is trying to sabotage this film? Is it something that you truly believe? Or are you one of the ones that's saying like, oh, Oprah's probably not behind anything like that? But again, if you know Oprah's past, if you know Oprah's, not just with Michael, also with the Central Park Five, the exonerated Central Park Five, who she deemed to be guilty at one point. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing. Let me know down below in the comments what you guys are thinking about some of the things going on with the Michael biopic coming from Lionsgate.